we're going to Ash and Bell. I'm just going to talk about some things. Um, and basically, I'm going to talk about um, should you try WoW in 2025 and why or why not? Um, we're going to start with the negatives first and then move on to the positives. Um, the reasons why you wouldn't want to try WoW in 2025 is that you don't like MMORPGs. This isn't your style of game. You particularly like more puzzle games rather than kind of search games or group activities. You don't like raiding. You don't like how it's set up, things like that. So that's really all the negatives. Other than that, maybe you don't have time to play a game uh, that well requires to play the game on a full level to get the full experience from it. I do believe one of the best qualities about World of Warcraft and a lot of Blizzard's games in general um, is to immerse their audience into the storyline, the lore, the gameplay, um, the camaraderie, the loyalty, like all these group um, type of not just emotions but qualities that you have to be. You have to be a good teammate. You have to, you have to be caring and understanding, to players, not just their skill level, but their ability to recognize certain situations and adapt to those situations. Um, you have to you have to understand that you're not in control of the time, especially if you're the tank. If you are the tank, you have a little bit more control, but you have to require yourself to kind of let go and understand and have faith in your healer to heal you. Um, you know, things like that. So, so, so there are some avenues and that you can take that aren't the best, and this might not be for you. However, this video will point towards more of the pros. So, um, and then say we do want to play, try World of Warcraft in 2025. Where do we start? Well, we we have kind of a dilemma. It's a good problem to have. Okay, this is a very good problem to have, but it is a problem nonetheless. Um, we have kind of a Star Wars issue here, to where um, to where we have newer players coming into the game. Okay, and if you've never picked up and played World of Warcraft before, this definitely applies to you. It's where do you start? What do you want out of this game? Um, and and the problem we didn't have 20 years ago is we had two options really. We had when World of Warcraft first went live, but before that we had the RTS, the real time strategy games as well. Okay, that depicted all the lore that we ever needed, at least at the time. So we didn't know any better. Neither did the devs and the people that created it. Um, so we, um, so through my experience, we have a couple choices. Do you start with, and this is going to be kind of like the type of games you like to play, or would you like to immerse yourself into the storyline and the lore? Kind of, this is where this is going. Um, and my first impression on this is, do you, just like Star Wars, do you start with the original three in the middle, four, five, six, or do you start with the prequels, or do you start with the stuff that came seven, eight, nine? Or do you start with Rogue One and then bring it in? So we have this kind of Star Wars kind of calamity issue. It's a good problem to have. Um, having a lot of content is a good problem to have, in my opinion. So we um, so we have this issue, and the way I look at it is, what are you looking to get out of this gaming? What are you looking out of to get out of your game, out of your WoW, first time WoW kind of experience? Um, and I would point towards, if you are in it for the storyline, the gameplay, the leveling experience, you're going to take a different track than if you're into more of the competitive route. Um, and I'll show you why here in a second. So I think if you're here for the lore, the storyline, the more non competitive aspects of the game, um, I think you should really start off with the RTS series, the original Warcraft, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, and the expansion of Warcraft 3 as well. Um, and with that said, I think they do a really good job of explaining the lore, and you can experience basically the first three expansions of World of Warcraft lore and a little bit extra that it didn't necessarily touch on, but you get to experience that in a very concise um, platform, and you get to learn kind of RTS. So if you like RTS already, that's another bonus that you can experience the RTS um, format as well as experiencing, you know, what you will experience with the MMORPG, assuming you already enjoy MMORPGs. So that's another thing. So you can directly um, enjoy another archetype, of gaming. So, and that's good. And if you've never played RTS, you can experience an RTS and see if you really enjoy it. So, um, I enjoy watching Grubby play RTS Warcraft 3, and so I just do. I used to play it a lot 20 years ago, and it's really nice to watch players play that game. Now, I don't play it anymore, but I enjoy watching them play it. Um, so, and Grubby's one of the best in the world. So we got that. So from a lore standpoint and kind of just an overall concept design, I think that that the RTS series is a very good place to start if you're looking from that point of view. Um, and you also, it's a good way to be introduced to like all the characters, and what they represent and what factions they represent. And so when you get to kind of the World of Warcraft later, this stuff makes a little bit more sense. It's polished a little bit. It's put together just a little bit more than if you come in here in World of Warcraft just blind. Um, and that can help immerse you. When I stated before that Blizzard does a really good job of like immersing themselves in their audience in the gameplay, they do that very very well, and they're successful at it, and they've been successful at it for a very long time at this point. Um, so anyway, um, the next uh, sorry, I wrote this down. Um, so the other thing is just to experience the arcs, how the characters like react to each other. I think that's very important, to be able to do that as well. We also have like the ability to kind of see some other things that are um, farther out in the lore that they don't touch on. Okay, they touch on a little bit, but they don't. Like the scourge, like you'll understand why the scourge is the way it is. I think we lose a lot of that in um, World of Warcraft at first. Okay, you have to kind of look into it. You have to really kind of dig for it. But in the RTS and in Warcraft 3 specifically, they immerse you in that. They immerse you in the scourge and the undeads. Like you get a really good feel of what they're doing and why they're doing it. And so we get that, and that's what RTS really does. And I think if you really want to be immersed in this universe and you haven't touched WoW at all, or even if you have and you want to go back and you want to get that feel for it, just you know spend go back, get those games. I think they're reasonably priced at this point, and it's a really good thing. Um, to start there. I think it'll help your WoW journey. I think it'll help bring things together and make your Warcraft experience much richer, basically. Um, so thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Um, so the second is, if you wanted to start for the leveling experience and a little bit more of the lore experience for the long, and I'm speaking of more of the long term type of experience, then you'll want what I'm playing now. I'm playing Classic right now. I'm currently playing Hardcore. I recommend, if you're a new player, do not play Hardcore because you need to play the end game and experience the full game before you go and play Hardcore. Because you're not going to learn it. What stinks is if you die at like level 9, is then you have to spend a couple hours to get back to level 9 to start learning again. The leveling process all the way to 60 is a process, and into the end game. The leveling experience is its own thing. And I think by challenging yourself not to die right away as a new player, unless you are specifically looking for that, I think I would advise against going the hardcore route here. I really do. Um, and the thing that we bring the leveling experience, and just everything is kind of thrown together that the RTS hints on, and very and not just hints on, but portrays the story, and you are enveloped in the world. If you really want that experience, start with the RTS, come to Classic, and um, you will be enveloped by it. Now, at this point, now, and that is how the most of us um, experience World of Warcraft. We were immersed in the story. We knew the story. We knew what was coming, and that's part of why it was so big. That's why Wrath of the Lich King was so big, um, and then into Cataclysm, and then into MoP, or Mist of Pandaria. So so all this stuff is out there, all this information's out there. If you want to look ahead, you may. The lore's out there if you want to see where this stuff comes from, but to experience it like everyone else did, I think has some merit. Not that you want to be like everybody else, not that you want an experience just like everyone else's, or maybe you want a different experience. That's fine. Maybe you have some friends playing classic or something else, um, and that's okay. That is absolutely okay. So, but for now, I just think it's a good thing for newer players to do that, to be enveloped in it. Now with that, there's a time commitment to that. There's and with the time commitment, um, you're also getting enveloped in a time um, commitment here, and that's okay too. But you are immersed in this universe, and it's very nice. Um, so um, it's also, classic is quite relaxing. Um, I think in general World of Warcraft is relaxing. Um, it doesn't lack competitive play. I mean, there is PvP if you want the competitiveness, and there are in-game raids. But I think the ability to get there to those levels is a big deal. I think being able to get the process of going from 0 to 60 is very, very relaxing. I think so it's very nice anyway, and it's enjoyable. It just really, really is. So that's another reason I would pick that. If I started with retail, or if I started with WoW Classic, um, then I would just say enjoy the leveling process. Read the quest lines. Read why you're doing it. You're going to see a lot of interesting kind of characters come in here. And some NPCs that are really, really cool. But you're going to have to do a little bit more reading than if you played the RTS. RTS has a little bit more reading. But if you really want to get your bang for your buck on the lore, RTS is where to go. Even if you just play through the campaigns and do a little bit of the matchmaking and really kind of look at the ladder system and things like that. The ladder system and the RTS for just the Warcraft RTS series is really cool. So you can test your skills there, see if you like it, see if you can hit buttons well, and the button pressing buttons well over there on the RTS side will directly relate back over here to the World of Warcraft sign, the classic sign, and the retail so side as well. Now, if you are looking for purely competitive play and you don't necessarily care about the lore as much, retail's for you, basically. Um, the ladder play, RTS has ladder play as well. You might get immersed in that competitive scene. That competitive scene is very high skill. So, and if you can play a high RTS at a very high level, you can pretty much play any game you ever want. So I also like RTS for the simple reason that it is great practice um, for improving your button hitting, your button pressing for all other games. If you are a great RTS player, you will be a great player for pretty much every other game you ever play. Just because of you have to be a tactician, you have to be very detailed. You have to be your finger movements, your muscle memory has to all be there. It has to come together basically. So, and when it does come together, good things happen. So, um, and so back to retail basically. So retail also has a ladder system called Mythic Plus. So Mythic Plus is basically a tier system, an infinite tier system that a group of 5 players can go into a dungeon, and you complete the dungeon on a time limit. Okay, and and then what you have to do is you just complete +1, +2, and it keeps going up in level until you can no longer. Uh, it'll scale with you. Your gear will scale, but at some point, the bosses will do so much more damage than you that you're unable to heal through it mostly, or it won't be able to tank through it. Maybe a mob has so much HP that you can't damage through it. But mostly it's a tank and healer probably issue, more likely. Or just raw mob power, could be a thing too. If you're wanting to push the limits of a character or a group of a team, that is for you. For a small group of 5. Rating is going to be something more, and this rating also applies to classic as well here. Rating is basically 10 to 30 man in retail. It's 20 in mythic, for basically scaling issues and to make sure that the instance does enough damage for balancing and things like that. Like, this game's hard to balance, it just really, really is. Has a lot of things going on. The developers have to work with it, and just make the best game possible. And they do what you can, but what they can't do is have a flex scale of 30 people this one and 20 this, because there's just some things that just could be broken, and you could class stack a little bit, and something becomes much easier when you have the fifth mage or something like that. But they have really turned against that. They really don't do that much more, even though Strix's Bunk Junker was 3 balanced druids and three priests, putting PI on them. This so yeah, and I'm not sure if PI was necessarily used that way, but I'm assuming it was, because balanced druid was a single target monster. Um, this this tier, before all the nerfs and things or changes, class changes. So also, along with ladders and stuff, you can parse. You can parse in classic as well, but parsing in retail, there's more. There's a lot of competitive nature on parses. So if you're competitive, if you want to compete in your individual class, there's that out there too. So you can compete as a group, but you can also compete at the highest levels within your own class from your individual skill and show yourself there. You can also use that to find a guild, and have more of a scheduled play every week, or you can have more of a random, and you can pug. So, retail kind of offers a little bit for anybody, any schedule, any play, any skill level. And that's why there's multiple skill levels. There's LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic. Um, Mythic being the hardest, LFR being the easiest. So LFR is more of the non-casual. I just want to experience the raid. I want to go in the raid. I want to kill the bosses, experience it for what it is. Maybe from a lore perspective, want to just see what it is. I think it's, adaptive raiding. Basically, you want to get in there, want to get in the game, but you don't know how to start. LFR is for you. Normal is that next step up, where mechanics start to matter. Heroic, it just keeps getting harder and harder. They start adding abilities, boss abilities. They start adding more damage, through this. And then mythic, all the above. They just everything just happens, So the other thing that retail brings to the table is collecting. So, and this also applies to classic as well. You can, if you're a non-competitive player, don't care about in-game, don't care about raids, don't care about anything else. I just want to hang out with my friends, and I just want to collect stuff. I just want to run around. I want to experience all the old content. I want to go around and just pew pew, and everything like that. Um, you know, and then retail is for you. Um, you can collect mounts, you can collect pets, you can collect transmog and gear sets to make your character look any way you want. There's a plethora of legendary weapons and gear to attain. A lot of these things have a low drop rate, very low drop rate, and so basically it gives you something to do on a weekly basis, and it's not stressful. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is very a stress-free kind of thing. Like, you just go in there and you just hit buttons and you enjoy it. It's fun. It's kind of a stress relief, reliever from the day, kind of wind down from the day, just got off work. I want to go in there. I want to see if this mount will drop off of Ice Crown Citadel or something like that. Also, you can also do a non-competitive thing where professions. You can play the WoW economy. You can you can be an alchemist and sell flasks and potions, and make a bunch of money. And you can just be rich in this game. You can just, and then you can just keep using the money to fund other things. You can fund a guild. You can have a guild full of profession people. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do if you're a little bit creative with it. So that's everything that retail and classic kind of bring. The outlier here is the new thing of Season of Discovery. and it kind of merges classic and retail, the experience from it. And the way I kind of look at Season of Discovery is, um, it gives you this really, really enjoyable. Um, it gives you this enjoyable connection between, if they could redo classic, how would they kind of do it? Um, so and the what they do is they take some of the abilities, and you can actually put those abilities on your armor and stuff, and so you can kind of have some level of customization, okay, on your character. And what that does is it kind of allows you to play your game the way you want to play it. To where if you go to the original classic vanilla stuff, it is very engineered to play a certain way, to min max everything. You obviously don't have to do that, but the game is tailored to a certain way of being played, um, to um, to be the best, you know. So which is fine. So, and it also brings some aspects. It doesn't focus on in game as much. There is a leveling experience, so you get kind of best of both worlds here. You get a really good, enjoyable leveling experience, while also, on the other hand, getting a very good kind of solid in game that is not as competitive in nature as retail, but isn't necessarily as grindy as classic, especially as hardcore classic as well. Um, so um, that's really about it for there. I really still I recommend highly, um, that you start with the RTS series. I think the RTS series is where the passion, that if you look at WoW players and the people that have played the RTS series and went through that campaign to really, really envelop it, um, I think those people that you feel that passion, you feel that fire underneath them of why they play, and underneath it is that RTS experience. I think that's where it starts. And I think if you really, really want to have the same kind of affinity for a game like this and be immersed, I think you start there. I really, really do. But the choice is yours. The choice is yours at the end of the day. And and that's a good thing, is you can play this. There's so much content out there, which is a good problem to have. So I'm just happy we do have so much content out there. So anyway, if you like this video, definitely give me a comment, like, subscribe in the comment section. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.